If you don't think the speculators are still taking advantage of this market, take a look at this. The fly-by-night speculators, they might be gone. But the people who were here doing this before 2020, they're alive and well. And if anything, they're doing better than they ever have before. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. Now, a lot of players consider the MTG finance world to kind of be dying off. And I'm going to give examples today. They're going to kind of shock you and blow your mind a bit. So I hope you're ready for it. If you're interested in MTG finance, this is probably going to be a video that you're going to want to watch once or twice, get the information down, and have an understanding how players can look for loopholes inside the system, purchase cards before they become big, and then sell when the market starts to rise on them, but not get caught with a major amount of bulk afterwards when the card finally gets reprinted or the interest in the card peters out. Players who've been doing this for a while are very successful at it. It takes time, skill, effort, grinding, risk, reward. There's a whole bunch of mini microcosm stuff that goes in to making you successful at this, and it's not going to happen all at once. So, guys, when you're looking at this world of Magic Finance, and it is still finance, cards go up and down, reprints versus non-reprints, all the cards I'm going to share with you guys today, the new ones anyway that I'm going to be, just giving a little bit of a speculation on, these cards have all not been reprinted. They're all in upcoming sets that might interest players, and they all have the potential upswing to more than double in value. Does that mean you should go out and buy the cards I'm going to show you today? That'll be completely up to you. I will leave comments and notes throughout the video, but it'll be up to you to decide if you want these cards. And I will tell you as we go through the video if I've bought any of these cards. But the first example I'm going to share with you will probably shock you the most, so this first couple of minutes of the video might be of the biggest interest to most players. Now, the first one I want to share with everyone today is going to be Sliver Hive. Now, as everyone knows, this came out in 2015, and I think it has a secret layer version. Other than that, it has not been reprinted like everyone thought it was going to be in Commander's 2023. Commander Masters just didn't have it, and it upset a lot of players. They expected it to be in that Sliver deck. Now, get this. When you look at this card in May, okay? May 21st, this card was $13.94 US. July 19th, we have all the spoilers, everything out, and now the cards jumped to $49.23. As of September 8th of 2023, this card's back down to $28.98. So you can see there was nobody really caring, so we were waiting to see what the spoilers were. Then you jump out there and you see it's gone massively big hit because it hasn't been added to the Commander deck. People need it for Sliver decks and Commander Sliver building. And then, of course, we're into September. We've got new sets dropping, wallet fatigue, and the interest in the card goes down. Now, when we're looking at that, does that mean it's all over? Absolutely not. There's a whole separate section to this. The month of May, this card had 495 sales. In July, 4,900. Most of them happening after around the 12th of July onward. It never made the top 10, but still 4,900 sales is very high. Then here in September, from September 1st until when I'm doing this video, which is going to be on the 8th, when you guys are watching this, it has 329 sales. Now, what does that mean? What does this all correlate to, and how does it matter? If you're a person at the beginning of this, and you're looking at the cards saying, I wonder what cards they could put in that Sliver Commander Master deck. A player who is looking for holes and chinks in the armor will look for cards that have not been reprinted yet. They will look for the variation of value and the potential upswing of Wizards of the Coast reprinting this card themselves. I've talked about this in other videos, but I really wanted to give a little bit of detail and depth, so I gathered the sales and the information to put it together in today's video. So when you're putting this out, now I had a hunch, and I talked about in a video how I bought myself a play set. I think I paid 12 something US each, lightly played, I believe. So I think I paid $50 total with shipping. Okay, and you can see there a single copy costs 50. Now I owned one already for my Sliver deck, but I wanted to have 4 more just in case they didn't reprint it. Now, if I'd been smart and bought a lot more, you could have made a massive amount of money. So let's take a look at that. Let's see what we're talking about. Now in May, this card basically earned $6,900 US, but in July, This card made $241,227 US based on the sales that happened in that month. And then September right now, it's still at 9,300 plus sales. So think about the money that has been transferred and earned in this period of time. Think about how much money has changed hands, how many players have showed an interest in this card, and just the FOMO kicked in and everyone bought the card. So who had all those copies available? Because I'll tell you right now, some local LGSs that had them got sold out really fast. Then you have to start going to places like TCG Player. You start hitting up eBay, Card Market, Card Kingdom, the bigger places that have hoarded these cards, and almost as if they knew it was going to happen, the prices rose exponentially over that period of time. And now that the card is dwindling, the prices are dropping, there's a lot less stock available, the buy lists are going down, and the card is fading for now. But the funny thing is, that doesn't mean the card is gone. It just means the interest is faded. Now, players who will know what to look for now and realize this card probably will get reprinted at some point because somebody made a lot of money. Or groups of players made a lot of money selling this card into the market to meet demand and made a killing off this card as FOMO kicked in. Now, I bought just before FOMO was starting to kick in, but other players bought at the height, as explained in the amount of money you saw change hands for that one particular card. Now, the chances are it is going to come around and get reprinted in a future product, maybe even Modern Horizons 3. We don't know how that'll play out, so players will be leery and waiting again to see if it'll get reprinted. They don't want to pay the high price, but Wizards may want to cash in on that value. It'll leave a lot of uncertainty in the market, but somebody out there might decide to strike at it again, because if this card continues to fall and goes back down to the $10 to $11 mark, you might see an upswing in that card again if it doesn't get reprinted. FOMO will actually become double fold and the card will go a lot higher. History has shown us this time and time again. But it's not just that. Now, when we're talking about cards, so I'm just moving the sheet up here. When we're talking about cards and how things will move, I want to show you guys also images of cards that could come up, because I'm not going to hit too much on cards like Bloomborough yet. I'm still researching this stuff and checking out a lot of sales data. But when we're talking about Ixalan and rivals of Ixalan, there's a lot of opportunity for low-level cards that have not been reprinted to hit it big. Now, they could still come out in a commander deck. They could be actually reprinted in the set for all we know. They could come up as a list card or a specialty card in that set. But if they don't get reprinted, the cards will probably shoot up in value. And if they go up in value and they shoot up, then you know Wizards probably had this card targeted for a future product and they want the card to go up. So let's take a look at these cards and let me show you what I mean. So I'm setting the kind of pace how we're going to do this here. When it says Deadeye Quartermaster from Ixalan, this card is low cost, it's never been reprinted, and there's an upcoming set which has a lot of interest for players. The average price is 35 cents. The market price is 22 cents. You can see that this card doesn't have tons of use at the moment, but look at what the card can do. It is 1 blue, 3 generic for a 2/2. But it says it's a human pirate, and when it comes into play, when the Deadeye Quartermaster enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment or vehicle card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. You get to get a vehicle or an equipment. Think of all the amazing equipment out there. Think about the vehicles and think about how interconnecting cards could even be of more use depending on how you're building your deck. Not to mention Pirate Tribal. There's a lot of things that can key in with this particular card. So when we step forward, we look at this card. It's a cheap card. It has great possible gains on the card. The risk is low and the reward upside is pretty good. So spending $5 and buying, 15 copies is not a big risk, is it? But the possible rewards of this card going to $1 or $2 each really could swing things upward, like we saw with other cards that get unbanned or other cards that don't get reprinted and new cards connect them together. If it doesn't get reprinted, then you know Wizards of the Coast does have this thing targeted. If this doesn't come around in the Ixalan block of this new upcoming set, Journey, sorry, I always say Journey to the Center of the Earth because it keeps reminding me of that. The Lost Caverns of Ixalan, if it doesn't get reprinted in commander decks or spoilers or any type of list thing, this thing's going to go up a lot in value, and that's if any cards connect with it, which we know there probably will be, okay, judging by how the card functions. Now, when we're also taking a look now, look at cards like Grim Captain's Call. Again, it's Ixalan, it's 1 black, 2 generic. It says, return a pirate card from your graveyard to your hand. Then do the same for a vampire, a dinosaur, and a merfolk. Well, this card is 24 cents. It's not an expensive card. It has the same things I showed you in the last one. But let's face it, it's 1 black, 2 generic. You get to get multiple cards, you get to thin out your library, and there's a lot of usage there, even in a commander deck, depending on how you build the deck. So if this doesn't get reprinted, and we get new pirates, new dinosaurs, or even better merfolk, you can see how a card like this could be triggered, have a massive upswing, and have real value going forward. Again, hasn't been reprinted, so there's a lot of upside to a card like this, because if Wizards doesn't reprint it, and doesn't bring it around in this set, you know that they themselves are targeting this card. You can hop into in between times where, like, oh, it's not being printed now. Maybe it's going to be printed in something like Modern Horizons 3 because they've made some connector cards that make it valuable. You have that much timeline, a little bit less than a year, to ditch the card and make a lot of money off it. This is what people do when they know what they're looking for and how they want to play it out. Now, the last card I want to share with you is Tempest Caller. It's Ixalan. Again, cheap card, 15 cents, nothing huge. But look at what this card does. It's 2 blue, 2 generic, and it's a 2/3, but it says, when it enters the battlefield, tap all creatures target opponent controls. So think about this in Commander and other upswing type decks you're playing with. If this card doesn't get reprinted, it is kind of like a sleep, but it's also a creature. You can multitask this into blue Commander decks. You can do a lot with it. And it's a merfolk. Again, it connects to merfolk tribal. It gives an opportunity to have a lot of merfolk out. You lay that out, tap all your opponent's creatures, and blah, you wipe them out. It's an instant win depending on how you've set your deck. And with other cards connecting it, you can do a lot of damage that people don't expect. And if that card doesn't get reprinted, if it doesn't come back around, you know Wizards probably has a plan for it at some point, and you have the opportunity. That opportunity means you're taking a risk for a hopeful reward, and this is what people do each and every day. The difference is they have the cash reserves to do it on a larger scale, making the risks still pretty low, but the rewards can be exponential because they can spend hundreds of dollars on one speculation and reap thousands of rewards of dollars when it comes true, and allows them to flip it into new prospects going forward. This is something players need to be aware of because it does happen all the time. And as scary as that sounds, and as everyone's like, oh, proxy, very few players are mainstream proxy people. I have 1 or 2 friends who proxy like Power 9 cards because they don't own them. But for generalized purposes, if the card's not worth like $50, most of my friends would never proxy. They would never bother even printing off a printer at work. They just don't see it that way. They want the real deal. You know, it's something about having the real card that really affects a lot of players, and especially just the average, you know, person who goes to the LGS. They don't mind spending. If that card goes from 30 cents to $1, do you think they care about spending the dollar? No, but you just made triple your money on it because you were the one who spec'd on it and sold it back to the store at 60 cents instead of 30 cents you bought it 3 months ago. The store's not going to care. The store's not really going to know probably. They just know they sold some copies before release. That's what they're going to see. But in the trade-in, if any of these cards hits, you make a killing on it. And that's something players need to be aware of. It doesn't have to be a Power 9 card. It doesn't have to be a Gaia's Cradle, a Mox Diamond, or even a Mox Amber like I shared yesterday. You don't have to invest big money. You have to invest smart money. And you have to be willing to take the risk to get that reward. And most players nowadays are just so negative, they're not looking at it that way. So I wanted to share this with you to show you how it goes, to show you how it can truly work for you if you want to delve into it. It is still possible. Sure, people can be negative about it, but this does happen. I've done it a lot myself. We're at the end of the video, nobody's watching. I did this for years before I actually did a YouTube channel. I did tons of stuff like this. Mox Amber was the last big one I did. And I did fine. We all know that. I did fine. So I leave it there. I leave it in your hands to see what you guys think about the video. Thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for hanging with the Moxman. Of course, if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Help me get closer to 20,000 subscribers. Only you guys can do it. I can't do it myself. It's not like I'm, I just can't. I need you. You get how it is. It's a symbiotic relationship type thing. Anyway, interesting stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Looking forward to seeing it. Have a great night. And night. I guess this video is going up in a few minutes. Enjoy yourselves. It's a great evening. It's a Friday night. We'll see you guys soon. Hey guys, a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons I have supporting this channel each and every day. That's right, it's the patrons. The patrons make it happen, the YouTube membership members. Because of them, upload a video like this, it is made possible. You're here at the end of the video. Yes, I did a bonus video because I have a little bit more information coming. I will share it later. Small risk, big reward. We'll leave it at that for now until everything comes through, but I wanted to share that with you. We'll talk soon. Oh, You made it to the Ramble Jamble, you got to put a boomstick in the comment section. And always remember, shop smart, shop best smart, bring a friend to Magic. And again, it's Friday night, you got to chill. I got top 10 counting to do for tomorrow's video.